It was a cold, tense night in Berlin, November 9, 1989. The city was shrouded in darkness, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty. Few could have imagined what was about to unfold. For nearly 30 years, a concrete wall had split the city in two, a stark, unyielding symbol of a divided world, separating families, friends, and dreams. On one side stood West Berlin, a beacon of freedom, bustling with life, color, and hope, where people dreamed of a better future. On the other side, East Berlin lived under strict communist rule, watched by ever-present guards and surrounded by suspicion and fear. Most believed the Berlin Wall would stand forever, an immovable barrier that defined their lives and destinies, but on this extraordinary night, everything changed. The city was alive with whispers and restless energy. A rumor began to spread like wildfire. A government official had announced new travel rules, effective immediately. The news was shocking, almost unbelievable. Could it really be true? Could East Berliners finally cross to the West to see loved ones and taste freedom after decades of separation? Crowds gathered at the checkpoints, hearts pounding, voices rising in unison, chanting, pleading, demanding, "Open the gate!" The border guards, confused and without clear orders, tried desperately to hold them back, unsure of what to do as the pressure mounted. The tension was unbearable. Finally, at one crucial checkpoint, a guard made a fateful decision that would change history. He ordered the barrier open, unable to resist the will of the people any longer. The gate swung wide and a wave of people surged through, their faces alight with disbelief and joy. East Berliners poured into the West, many for the very first time, overwhelmed by emotion and the taste of long-awaited freedom. West Berliners greeted them with open arms, offering flowers, champagne, and heartfelt embraces. Tears of joy flowed freely. Strangers hugged, cried, and climbed atop the wall, chipping away at the concrete that had kept them apart for so long. Each piece that fell was a victory for freedom, a symbol of hope reclaimed and a future rewritten. The Berlin Wall, the ultimate symbol of division, was finally falling, brick by brick, under the weight of the people's will. And the world watched breathless as history unfolded before their eyes, a night when hope triumphed over fear and the world changed forever. To truly understand the dramatic fall of the Berlin Wall, we first need to explore the reasons behind its construction. The story of the wall is rooted in the aftermath of World War II, when the world was reshaped and new lines were drawn across Europe. After World War II, Germany was carved into 4 occupation zones, each controlled by one of the victorious allies: the United States, Britain, France, and the Soviet Union. Berlin, although deep inside the Soviet zone, was also split into 4 sectors, making it a unique and tense focal point. As tensions rose, the Cold War began, a fierce battle of ideas and influence between democracy, led by the West, and communism, led by the Soviet Union. Berlin became the front line in this ideological conflict. In 1949, the Western Allies merged their zones to create West Germany, while the Soviets established East Germany from their sector. This formalized the division of both the country and its capital. Berlin remained a divided city, a constant flashpoint where East and West confronted each other daily, and where the world watched for any sign of conflict. For many East Germans, West Berlin represented hope and freedom. Between 1949 and 1961, nearly 3 million people escaped to the West through Berlin, seeking better lives and opportunities. The East German government, alarmed by this mass exodus and the loss of its citizens, grew increasingly desperate to stem the tide. On August 13, 1961, in a sudden and shocking move, East German soldiers surrounded West Berlin, unrolling barbed wire and blocking all crossings. Families were torn apart overnight, unable to say goodbye. The temporary barbed wire soon gave way to a formidable concrete barrier, transforming the cityscape and the lives of its people. The Berlin Wall was not built to keep enemies out, but to lock its own people in, preventing them from fleeing to the west. It was a desperate and drastic measure designed to prop up a failing regime and maintain control over its population. The world watched in disbelief and outrage as a city and a nation was physically and emotionally split in two, becoming a symbol of division. The wall quickly became the defining symbol of the Cold War, representing not just a divided city, but a divided world. And for decades, it stood tall and unyielding, a seemingly unbreakable barrier between freedom and oppression. For 28 years, the Berlin Wall cast a shadow over millions. In West Berlin, it was a canvas for graffiti and protest, a daily reminder of division. In East Berlin, it was a prison. The Stasi, East Germany's secret police, spied on everyone, friends, neighbors, even family. Fear and suspicion ruled daily life. The government controlled news, schools, and what people could read or watch. Families were torn apart, unable to visit or even speak to each other. People waved across the wall, separated by meters but worlds apart. The government called it a protection barrier, but everyone knew it was a cage. Despite the risks, quiet resistance grew. People listened to Western radio in secret, told jokes, and created art that mocked the regime. These small acts of defiance kept hope alive. The wall was meant to crush the human spirit, but it couldn't. Life in its shadow was a struggle, but also a testament to the desire for freedom. The world watched, waiting for change. The Berlin Wall was designed to be impenetrable, a death strip of walls, fences, spikes, and armed guards. It stretched for miles, dividing families, friends, and an entire city. The barrier was a constant reminder of the risks and dangers that came with even thinking about escape, yet the desire for freedom was stronger than fear. People on both sides of the wall longed for connection, for a life without barriers, and for the chance to reunite with loved ones. People risked everything to escape. Ramming trucks through weak spots, climbing with ropes, and even leaping from windows of buildings that bordered the wall. Each attempt was a gamble with life and death. Some even built a hot air balloon from bed sheets and propane tanks, soaring over the wall under the cover of darkness, hoping the winds of fate would carry them to freedom. Others dug tunnels from west to east, working for months in secrecy, rescuing dozens before discovery. These underground passages became lifelines for those desperate to escape. Not all made it. Many were caught, imprisoned, or killed. The price of hope was often heartbreakingly high. Günter Littfen was the first to die, just days after the wall went up. His story shocked the world and set the tone for the years to come. Peter Fechter, shot and left to die in the death strip, became a symbol of the wall's brutality. His cries for help echoed across the divide, haunting all who heard them. Over 140 people died trying to cross. Each name on the memorials tells a story of courage and longing for a better life. Each tragedy fueled the resolve of those who opposed the wall. Vigils, protests, and acts of defiance grew stronger with every loss. The stories of escape, both triumphant and tragic, became legends, inspiring others to dream of freedom and to never give up hope. They proved that no wall could extinguish hope. The spirit of those who dared to escape lived on in every cheer and every tear. The world mourned the losses, but celebrated the courage. Each flower laid at the wall was a tribute to bravery and the unbreakable human spirit. Every escape attempt was a blow to the wall's legitimacy, a reminder that no barrier could truly contain the will to be free. The human spirit refused to be contained. Across the divide, hands reached out, and hope persisted, even in the darkest times. The wall stood, but cracks were forming. Change was coming, and the world was watching, waiting for the day when the wall would finally fall. By the mid-1980s, the wall seemed permanent, but change was brewing. Mikhail Gorbachev rose to power in the Soviet Union, introducing glasnost, openness, and perestroika, reform. He signaled that the USSR would no longer prop up Eastern European regimes by force. Across Eastern Europe, the winds of change blew. In Poland, solidarity pushed for free elections. In Hungary, the border with Austria was opened, a hole in the Iron Curtain. Thousands of East Germans escaped through Hungary to the west. Inside East Germany, protests grew. In Leipzig, weekly marches swelled from hundreds to hundreds of thousands, chanting, "We are the people." The government threatened violence, but the people stood firm. The regime was losing its grip. The cracks in the wall widened. The world sensed a turning point. The East German government, desperate to calm unrest, announced new travel rules on November 9, 1989. The plan was for slow, controlled change, but at a press conference, official Günter Schabowski, confused, told reporters the new rules took effect immediately. The news spread like wildfire. The Berlin Wall was open. East Berliners, stunned and hopeful, rushed to the checkpoints. Guards, bewildered and without orders, faced swelling crowds. At Bornholmer Strasse, Officer Harold Jaeger made a fateful decision: open the barrier. The gates swung open, people surged through, cheering and crying. The same scene played out across the city. The wall fell, not by force but by mistake, and the will of the people. Decades of division ended in a single, unforgettable night. The world watched history unfold in real time. The impossible had happened. The wall's collapse was sudden, peaceful, and unstoppable. Berlin was united again. The Cold War's most powerful symbol was gone. The fall of the Berlin Wall was just the beginning. Berlin became a citywide celebration. People chipped away at the wall, taking pieces as souvenirs. The East German government collapsed without its barrier. The question, what next? The answer, reunification. West and East Germany moved quickly to become one nation. The four Allied powers agreed to let Germany unite. On October 3, 1990, Germany was officially reunified. The celebration was immense, but challenges remained. West Germany's economy was strong. East Germany's was in ruins. Rebuilding the East cost trillions and took years. Many in the East felt left behind, but the country pressed on. Roads, buildings, and lives had to be rebuilt. The process was difficult but peaceful. German reunification showed the world that a nation divided by conflict could come together. A new chapter had begun. The fall of the Berlin Wall changed more than Germany. It changed the world. The wall's collapse signaled the end of the Cold War. Communist governments across Eastern Europe fell in rapid succession. The Iron Curtain was torn down. A new era of freedom began. The Soviet Union itself dissolved in 1991, ending decades of superpower rivalry. The world entered a new, uncertain era, no longer divided by East and West. The United States became the sole superpower, but new challenges emerged. Europe expanded, with former communist countries joining the EU and NATO. The world became more interconnected but also more complex. The end of the Cold War brought hope and new dangers. The legacy of the wall shaped the modern world. It was a turning point in history. We are still living with its consequences today. Today, only fragments of the Berlin Wall remain, memorials to a divided past. The wall's story teaches us about the human spirit's longing for freedom. No barrier can truly extinguish the desire to be free. The peaceful protesters and brave escapees proved that. The wall also teaches us about hope. Even when division seemed permanent, ordinary people kept the dream of unity alive. The fall of the wall reminds us that history is made by people's choices. It warns against building walls, physical or emotional, between us. The wall's pain urges us to build bridges instead. Its legacy inspires future generations to stand up for freedom and human rights. The protesters were ordinary citizens, not famous leaders. Their courage changed history. One voice can become many, and together they can tear down any wall. The Berlin Wall's story is a lesson for us all.